Today I'm making a small presentation actually about my start in art and design, who inspired me and who affected me actually through my journey up till now. I graduated in 2006 actually from the Fine Arts uh, department at the Lebanese International University, where I studied interior design. Uh, when I started actually uh, studying interior design, I was inspired by certain architects and designers who usually are pioneers in the architectural world, even in the artistic world as well. I mentioned in the presentation some of them, and at least the ones actually that I really consider them that they are still inspiring me up till now, since 2006 up till now. So the first one actually that I'm talking about is Le Corbusier. He's a French and Swiss architect. He's as well also as an artist. I put some of his projects or some photos showing his style or showing his projects that he has done before. Uh, what I like about Le Corbusier actually that he was always searching for elements from the nature itself and reflecting them actually in architecture and in design as well. The second slide showing Tadao Ando. He's a Japanese architect as well. And as you can see, the bulky, straightforward type of architecture that he was working with, as well as geometrical one. And what I love more about Tadao Ando, actually, the usage of the concrete elements in his architecture, where he built an empire actually of buildings that you can say that you can see the beauty and the bulkiness in the same time when you are looking at them. The third slide actually is talking about one of my favorite designers ever, is Alessandro Mandini. He's an Italian designer, and you can see me smiling actually every time I'm talking about Alessandro Mandini, uh, because of Alessandro Mandini, I love colors, and I'm not afraid actually to mix colors all together and to use them all together, as you can see in some of his designs that he did it before. I love his furniture. It's very bulky. It's soft and bulky at the same time, and very colorful as well. But it doesn't make you feeling the kitsch effect. No, it actually you will fall in love with what he's doing, even when it is about his architectural projects and designs. He used lots of he used lots of colors. He used lots of geometrical shapes that you don't think it would fit together, but when you see it all together, you feel like it's like one. You feel the harmony actually when you're looking at it. And the fourth slide actually is talking about Hassan Fathi. Uh, Hassan Fathi is one of my favorite designers and one of my favorite architects. Sorry, and he's, let's say, the father of the vernacular style, where he called it actually the architecture of the poor. Hassan Fathi is an Egyptian architect. I was really inspired by this architect through my studies at the university, even after I graduated from school. And when I came first actually to Qatar, I discovered that the traditional architecture of Qatar is also falls down actually into the vernacular style itself. So I love his style. I love his I love his studies as well, and his research, deep research actually about the vernacular style. But people would ask like, how do you like the vernacular style and you like Alessandro Mandini at the same time? Can you imagine, for example, like a vernacular architectural house done built using actually natural elements like the ones, for example, that I'm showing, for example, in this presentation. But the interiors can be, for example, reflected by Alessandro Mandini or reflected by Le Corbusier colors or elements. That would be like an amazing mix. So plus, I had been inspired by lots of other architects, especially like, for example, in Lebanon, like Pierre Khoury, like other modern architects and designers like Philippe Starak, Karim Rashid, Marcel Wonders. All of these architects and designers has inspired me through my studies at university. Uh, And when I finished my master's degree in archaeology of the Arab and Islamic world, and the fifth slide, I'm going to be talking about the Islamic art and architecture, because let's say that when you study the Islamic art and architecture, you will find the harmony of the architecture and the designs, the geometrical designs that most of my works, for example, are affected with it. And we're talking about centuries and centuries actually of such a beauty, which was built like 1400 years ago up till now. And over here, I put some photos from different areas of the Islamic world, whether it was Jerusalem or Persia or Egypt or Andalusia. So then the beauty of the Islamic art is that you will find these elements you will find the elements of it from the smallest object up till the biggest object, which is a building or a mosque or a fort. And you will find it, for example, in a vase or in a book or an illumination or a motif of a column or facade of a building. The beauty of it, actually, it doesn't matter whether it is being in colors or in monochrome. The beauty actually are in the usage of these elements, whether it's foliage or geometrical patterns, and mixing all of them together so you can have this type of composition. All of this, whether it's an international architect, whether it's a local type of architecture, all of this inspiring me up till now, and it will always be inspiring me in my art and design journey. In the next slide, I'm talking about Qatar. Qatar is a country that I'm living in since for almost 14 years. And when I first came over here, I was really I really felt in love with the traditional architecture, which falls actually into the vernacular architecture or vernacular style as well. Its beauty actually comes from its simplicity. And its simplicity as well, it's so complex that it's full with traditional patterns that you will not find it actually in another country, for example. There are certain elements that are common with the countries around it, but still it has its own beauty, it has its own uniqueness as well. And you can find it like in public spaces, like or public buildings, like for example, like mosques or forts. And you can even find it actually in small domestic houses as well. The beauty actually is coming actually from using the natural materials, which is reflecting the colors of the desert and the flawless movements actually as well of the deserts. But then you will be surprised actually with the complexity of the patterns, of the geometrical pattern that you will find it, for example, in the gypsum motifs that were decorating the houses or the mosques or the buildings as well. So what I love about Qatar actually is the mixture and the diversity when it is coming actually in comparison between the traditional architecture and the modern architecture. The next slide is showing actually some of the modern monuments, let's say modern architectural monuments that are built in Qatar. The beautiful thing about all of these buildings, whether it was, for example, the Barazan Tower designed and built by the Qatari architect Ibrahim al-Jayda, or whether it's about the Educational City Mosque or the National Museum of Qatar, which was designed by Jean Nouvel, or the Museum of the Islamic Art, or the InQ shop in the museum, in the National Museum of Qatar. All of these actually, they do look like they are coming from the space, let's say, for example, but they are not actually. They do fit and blend to the Qatari nature, just like other domestic architectural buildings, because they are all holding actually elements from the desert itself, from Qatar itself. the nature, from the culture, from the heritage itself. For example, the National Museum of Qatar, it's representing the desert rose that you will find it actually in the desert over here in Qatar. It didn't come from nothing. It came actually from the nature itself. The NQ shop, for example, it's imitating actually one of the caves over here as well. If you go, for example, to Mushairib downtown Doha, I cannot see the sorry, the presentation. Okay, sorry. You will find lots of elements, whether it's coming from the Islamic heritage, or whether it's coming actually from the traditional local heritage as well. Even, for example, if you go to the Educational City Mosque, it's exactly the same. All of this are coming from one resource, but they are being represented actually in different angles. So that's what I love about Qatar. I love the diversity of the architecture that you will find it over here, and every year we are being surprised actually with the new beauty, with the new buildings that are holding the same elements that you will find it actually that you will find it actually in traditional buildings as well. So in the coming slide, I will be talking about my first exhibition, my first participation actually in one of the exhibitions. It was at the EC Art Exhibition in Qatar Foundation in 2015. It came after my graduation. I participated over there with the first prototype of furniture that I designed and manufactured, and it was holding the phrase "all rights reserved, كل الحقوق محفوظة." And there were also like two artworks that I was working on them since 2014. Then in 2016, in the coming slide, you will see that my first solo exhibition, which was Tafasil 1, meaning details. And over here, it was reflecting actually mainly elements from the Qatari heritage, architecture, and culture as well. So I highlighted some of the pieces over here. For example, the palace, the majlis, the dirham table collection as well. The first dirham table collection, and you can see one of the one photo actually for the exhibition itself. Each piece of furniture actually, it was holding a message, which was like even the preservation of the local heritage, or even highlighting actually a point where you can see the beauty of the local heritage or the local architecture as well. You can say about my furniture, it's bold, it's bulky, but it's holding lots of warmness in its details. And these details, they are not coming from nothing. They are coming actually from the local community I'm living in. So somehow I was celebrating this community through these pieces of furniture. So in the next slide, which is yeah, also these are like selected artworks that I did in my first exhibition as well, and it was called Untitled Caliph Series of Desires 2014-2015. It's a mixed media where you can find silk miniatures, wood, acrylic, and calligraphy. This is coming actually from my inspiration of the Islamic caliphates actually that were established 1400 years ago. So in my work you will find a lot about art, architecture, and archaeology as well. And this, for example, is a small summary of how I was inspired from archaeology and translated actually into a piece of an artwork or piece of furniture. So that was in 2016. Then we came actually to 2017, where I did my second Tafasil 2 solo exhibition. It was a different level from the first exhibition. I was still actually inspired by the local traditions, by the local culture, by the local heritage as well, where I used this time, for example, the Sadu where I used, for example, the national anthem, where I used the peacock mirror, which is part of the Qatari traditional trousseau of the Qatari women as well. I used, for example, a combination of different mosques that were built in different areas in Qatar. And in Tafasil too, I had the chance actually to had a beautiful collaboration with the very well-known Iraqi calligrapher Sabah al-Arbili, where I designed 4 pieces actually of furniture inspired by his calligraphy as well. And plus I represented the exhibition in the memory of the late artist Jassim al-Zaini, where I did one piece. It represents actually the heads of the horses, of the Arabic horses, and it was inspired by 2 of his paintings as well. So over here you will see like a different type of inspiration, a different type of art as well when it is about furniture. Plus, I discovered I'm not gonna say discovered actually. I used different media, different materials when it is coming, for example, for the wood, which was more developed from the first exhibition up till the second exhibition. So, and this you will see it as well in the other coming exhibitions. So after Tafasil 2 in 2017, I had an exhibition with I participated actually in an exhibition for Al Markhiya Gallery, which was called 50 by 50, where the artists were asked actually to create an artwork with the size of 50 centimeter by 50 centimeter. So I created a 3D object, as you can see, and it was called the Qatari trousseau, the traditional Qatari trousseau, and you will see actually what are the elements that the Qatari bride used to move from her parents' house into her new house after getting married. So for example, I use different elements in each one of these pieces. The first one, for example, on the right, it's the Dazza box, and it's exactly an imitation actually of the traditional Dazza box that was used over here, but in a smaller size. I didn't use the nails, for example, the brass nails or the brass inlays that they use it over here. I use it actually in a very modern way, where you can see the elements or the designs are being engraved within the wood. The second one, it's inspired by tradition, by local architectural building. Then I use the calligraphy as well, for example, and the kosha one, which is the seat where the bride is being seated. And the last one, actually, it's the sewing machine, the traditional sewing machine, which was inspired by the local tradition, the local clothing, as you can see in one of the photos. So after the 50 by 50, I did I also participated with the Markhiya Gallery in 2018 by the 12 over 20 exhibition, where I designed this small collection of money boxes. It's called Hassala in the local accent, and where I used recycled type of wood, different type of wood from the other exhibitions as well. It was a recycled type of wood in different colors and in different finishes. So in 2018 up till by the end of 2019, I had my third solo exhibition, which was Tafasil number 3. It was also a different level when we are talking about materials, where we are talking about the presentation of the furniture prototypes, where I used over here, where the main theme of this exhibition, it was preserving local heritage, where I used like the facades of the old buildings, but in different way with the furniture, where I generalized or emphasized actually my concept more into Qatar after the blockade that happened in 2017. Plus, I started using different materials, where I use, for example, over here like aluminum, aluminum instead of wood as well, or with the wood, like the combination between both of them. And I was more interested actually to emphasize on and small and representing more elements than the building itself as well. As you can see it in the wall art installations that I did, or the artworks that I did as well. So in the second slide, you will see these are my two favorite pieces actually in one photo. That wall art installation made of pure aluminum. It was called Details from Qatar 2016 up to 2019, and it's summarizing all my pieces that I created from 2016 up to 2019. And it started actually with the national anthem, the map of Qatar, with all the buildings and the Sadu patterns as well. So after Tafasil 3 in 2019, which ended actually at the end of January 2020, I participated as well with Al Hawsh Gallery in downtown exhibition. This exhibition was supposed actually to be opened on March 2020, but because of the coronavirus, we had to postpone it. In this exhibition, actually, I went more with the political content installation, where I used one of the tables actually that I designed in 2017, and presented them actually as a wall art installation with one of the furniture pieces that I designed as well, as to be both together, actually to be combined both together actually together. So these tabletops were designed in 2017, and none of them were sold because of the blockade. This was the first coin actually for the state of Qatar, and I think most of the people, they do know the story of these coins and why I covered the word Dubai after the blockade, emphasizing or highlighting the fact that it's only about Qatar, and Qatar is flourishing as well. This is one of my favorite pieces as well, because it have been moving with me since 2017 up to 2020 as well. And then within the same period of in downtown exhibition, I had also the chance actually to be part of the process exhibition with Al Markhiya Gallery, where I created something totally new, totally out of the lines that I have been working with before. And when Al Markhiya approached me actually for this exhibition, and to talk about the process, how to create an art piece, and how it is created, like literally how it was created. So I have been working on this project since last year, so almost like 1.5 years. And it was a very interesting, very, let's see, a challenging project, you know. I used new media I haven't been using before. So I had to think outside of the box in a different way as well. Where first I had to create the idea itself and where it is coming from. So the idea actually was, what if Qatar was using the same coinage or monetary administration just as the previous Islamic caliphites, how the coins will be, or how the monetary will be, or how the currency will be. So in the next slide, actually, you will see that I created like demonstration coinage of the Qatar rulers since from 1851 up to present, and it started actually with Sheikh Mohammed bin Thani up to Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad, the current Emir of the state of Qatar. So each one of these coins actually, it has a story, and it's reflecting facts, it's reflecting events, and it's reflecting actually data that you will find it actually in the whether in the books or in the museum or whether online as well. So each piece took with me a lot of time actually, and a lot of the process was not easy at all, to be honest, because you need to start actually, you need to start with the research for each ruler, and to know what's the most influential, or what's the most important event that happened during the reign of this ruler, for example, and how I'm going to reflect it in a very small piece of art, which is like 35 millimeter in diameter, and what is the material that I want to use, how the embossing will be, how the reflection, for example, of the portrait will be, the calligraphy, the type of the calligraphy to be used, the small details, and all of this actually has to be like and has to be actually created in harmony for each one of these pieces. So this was supposed to be presented actually on March 2020, but also because of coronavirus, we had to postpone it up till October. So September, actually, up till September. And in the next slide, actually, you will see one of the pieces of actually of Sheikh Tamim that I did it actually in bronze and silver and in gold. And during the coronavirus lockdown, let's say, I had to create another piece. And this piece, actually, it was also reflecting the reign of Sheikh Tamim. And it was reflecting two events instead of one event. So at the last slide, actually, of the presentation, you will see actually the piece that I created, which was actually showing the portrait of Sheikh Tamim smiling, but and on the verso of the coin, I was talking about two events. One event actually, which was the blockade that was imposed on Qatar on the 5th of June 2017 by 4 Arab countries, and I summarized this actually by showing the arches of victory, which is an architectural monument in Qatar as well. And the other incident actually, which was the coronavirus, and it was I put like figurines of doctors, nurses, police, and the army, because these were the true frontline heroes and the homeland protectors. And that was somehow this coin was like a salute to the healthcare and medical workers, as well as the military and the police officers. So you will see, for example, when you are researching these stuff, for example, when I started designing, or when I started working on this project, I needed actually to make a research about coins and what coins mean, and why coins, and how it's not something actually that's created from nothing. It's something that holds a very high value, not only economically but also socially and historically as well. Coins actually are one of the first artifacts that mainly archaeologists and historians are looking for when they want to know more about any civilization or any country or any territory. So that's why I worked on this one, and I consider myself very lucky actually to be living in Qatar, because Qatar is a country which is so rich with its history. It's so rich when it is about its culture, especially about its architectural legacy and its architectural heritage as well. And that's it. I hope I gave you like a small glimpse about my journey up till now. Now I'm preparing actually for 2 other exhibitions by next December, and that's it.
Okay, so thanks for that. That was really great, and I think it really gives a good overview to your practice and where you get your ideas from. I had one question while you were talking. Sorry. What do you think, when we talk about artistic practice, it's kind of this mysterious part of making of art, and a lot of people don't understand what goes into it. So I'm wondering, is there one thing, or is there a couple of things that you think people misunderstand about your work in terms of your practice?
in terms of my practice,
Mm-hmm.
misunderstand. See, till now, it's even like the message is very direct, for example, and they are afraid of it, let's say, you know, or they just don't accept it because it might touch something really personal for them, or otherwise, no. Most of the people actually they do understand actually what is the point of how, yeah, like let's say the message behind each piece of
Mm-hmm.
them. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
So
they would
they
understand that, especially when it is reflecting something traditional or architectural, or you know, something
mm-hmm.
local that they might have seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
but if it is something, let's say. I don't know. I haven't worked with I haven't worked with political contents at all,
Mm.
except for one piece, for one installation, and it was somehow misunderstood. It was
Okay.
somehow misunderstood. Yeah.
So, but they don't, I mean, you don't run into problems where people don't understand why you're using the types of materials that you're using or question that in any way. They're pretty
Actually, they
accepting.
do. Yeah, they do. They do ask me about materials, from where you get it, and you know, from where you can find this. And I feel happy when people ask me about this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like it's part of me actually. I would love to teach people about this stuff and how to use it, and how to get it as well. So
Yeah, actually that was one of my questions too, is how do you decide what materials you're going to use for your projects when you're working?
okay, see, at the first, if you can see, like for the first 3 4 exhibitions, I was just keeping myself working with wood.
Mm-hmm.
So my major headaches were coming actually what type of wood, and if this piece of wood was good or not. But then I started actually discovering more. Like I was feeling more let's say interested in moving into another type of materials. So I firstly started using aluminum and discovered it's a beautiful type of materials. It's very soft to be engraved. It's very soft actually to be used, for example, with CNC machines and these stuff. And and then from there, actually, I wanted more, like, you know, I felt
Mm-hmm.
like more, let's say, how can I say it actually, like more curious. Like I want more, you know, when I want like more materials, I want to use more materials. I want to use different materials, for example. Why I'm not using, for example, steel, or why I'm not using, for example, silver. So each piece I design, it talks to itself. I would
Mm-hmm.
definitely say, okay, this will look beautiful with metal. This will look beautiful more with wood. Plus, sometimes actually it's about the financial side of producing the piece itself. Whether wood is cheaper than metal, or vice versa, for example. Like there's plenty of materials, for example, I wanted to use silver, but silver is way too expensive, you know,
Mm-hmm.
when it is about production. Like for example, when I created the coin collection, I wanted the golden one to be real gold, but the price of the gold that time, actually it was very high, so I couldn't use like the real gold one. So I had
Right.
to produce it in silver and do the gold plating over it, you know. But then I had another issue, for example, of the gold, so I had like to search for another type of plating and process. So these type of processes uh, will will teach you a lot, and it will come through your experience as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I
Okay?
mean, I think each project, each material is kind of like its own language, and it
Yes, yes,
helps you
that's true.
translate your ideas.
I could create it, for example, my piece of furniture with metal. But can you imagine, for example, that bulky type of bench, how heavy it will be? So that's why
Yeah,
for example, I had to use. So when you want to think about materials, you have to think about the functionality of it,
yeah,
you know, and
absolutely.
whether it can be moved or not, uh, if financially you can afford it or not, or the end user or the collector can also as well. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have a question from Yusuf, and he's asking, I'd like to know how COVID has affected the art market and your exhibitions precisely. And do you think it will recover soon?
See, of course, COVID affected everyone, not only artists, everyone as well. And it was somehow hit because instead of showing this collection on March, we had to wait like for 7 months. So these 7 months, we couldn't do anything. No one was buying anything, especially when it's about, well, in our field, actually, it's a bit hard because you're depending actually on the art collectors as after all to collect your, like, to get your pieces and these stuff. So of course it affected it, and it was not something easy. And if I think it will be better, so if you read in human history, of course it's going to be better, but you don't know if it's going to be better after 1 month, after 1 year, after 2 years. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But humans usually survive. They usually survive through this type of pandemics or
Yeah, I mean, I think the mantra right now is nobody knows. I've been repeating it since March. So that's the only way to relieve yourself of the stress. I mean, the one thing that I can say in regards to what I'm seeing in the art market overall is I do see that people are still purchasing work, even though there is a pandemic, and that online platforms are assisting in that. And we hope it will pass soon, but we don't, nobody knows when that's going to happen.
Yes, of course, of course.
You work really hard. So I'm just curious, thinking about you as as a working artist, how do you plan your time to make sure you have time for your artwork? Because I know for myself, when I was practicing, if I was working too much and I wasn't getting to do my art practice, it put me in a really bad way. So I'm wondering how you schedule your days in order to deal with your business and then also have time for creative endeavors.
I'll say one thing. It's a secret. I don't schedule. I keep it on a daily basis. But when I have the idea, in my head, actually, for something like related to my art, I would directly start working on it.
So you feel like you work more intuitively?
Yes, yes. Because see, ideas come all the time, but you cannot expect the time. You cannot just schedule your time and say, okay, I'm gonna sit and work on my art from, let's say, for example, from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and then I will go to my work, and then no, I cannot do this. I never did this before. Maybe for some people it's easy, but for me it's not. Sometimes if I'm on one site, I might have like 2 ideas or 1 idea, and sometimes it might be like 2 months, 3 months, I don't have any ideas. So it depends. I do have plenty of ideas every day, but still, business is more important, and it's the one actually who's funding my art scene. So yeah, that's it. I don't schedule it, actually. I don't feel so. As I told you before, like usually I work at night when it is about this. It's more free time. And sometimes I just free my schedule from like site visiting or meetings and these stuff, and I just sit on my laptop and work on a piece of art that I want just to finish it, so I can start with the producing of it. And plus, I'm working actually in an interior design company that majorly actually we do work with furniture design. So this helps a lot actually to be like creating a piece of art while doing design as well, so it's easy. So it's not that complicated, but scheduling this type of work, no, I don't think I can.
Some people can do that. I was never able to do that. How do you feel your artistic practice reflects your own personality? What in your artistic practice really reflects your personality? I mean, in regards to the things you create.
I never thought about this. See, I guess by time it will push you more. It will push you more further. Actually, it will challenge you further as well. So you start actually searching for more details, for more corners and elements that maybe you haven't seen it before. let's say, it depends. It's even moving you into being a very social person or moving you into antisocial person. I don't say I'm antisocial or fully social. Sometimes I feel I'm fully antisocial and I don't want to go out. I just want, like, for example, search on the books or search online or go see a building, for example, or I just remember that there's one spot that I want to go and see it. And sometimes I feel like, no, I'm super social and I want to go see people and talk to them, because artists cannot live alone, but plus they cannot always be involved in social gatherings. But social gatherings as well are very important, because you can get your idea, for example, by opening a type of subject, for example, with another fellow artist or with someone, for example, with any person, for example, or like an audience or someone, and then you will have the idea, as simple as this. Yeah. So of course it's affecting me, but I don't know, to be honest. I don't know how to translate it. Uh, like, it will give you, as I said, it will push you further, actually, it will push you further, like.
I think it's really important for artists to remember that, it's not like when you're practicing art, it's not like it's this ongoing stream that's just going all the time. Sometimes you
No.
do have silences and you have to respect those silences, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, of course.
We have a question from Rania. She's asking, did you consider writing your experience in Qatar, since all of your themes were inspired from your life there, and how this affected your artistic style? So have you ever considered writing about your experiences in Qatar?
Maybe one day, but I'm still considering myself young, and I don't have that much of let's say experience. Maybe I need to work more, for example. I'm proud of what I did till now, but I'm not fully satisfied, because if I'm feeling satisfied, I would be lying to myself. No, I'm not satisfied, to be honest. Even from day one up till now, I don't have the satisfaction feeling, like, even after producing a piece and putting it, for example, on display, I would look at it after 1 day or 2 days, and I would say, I wish I did it like in another type of food, or I wish I did it, for example, in another style. I wish I didn't do this. I wish I can do, we always have this. We always have this. Plus, one day maybe, yeah, one day maybe. I was thinking about it, to be honest, but I'm still considering, like, I need to do more. You need to do more, actually, in order to start writing about this.
Right. And I think you also need a bit of hindsight sometimes too,
Yeah.
to realize how how your experiences affected your work.
Yes.
We've got a question also from Ahmad, and he said, I witnessed that you use always a very high-end materials to produce your pieces, and also you launched a jewelry collection as well. Is this an artistic choice, or due to the appreciation of Qatari art collectors, or do you choose your materials due to the appreciation of Qatari art collectors of luxurious and unique pieces? So I think
I love luxury materials, and when I started doing when I started the first piece of jewelry that I did, actually, it was a miniature of one of the pieces, of my furniture pieces as well. So it gave me a glimpse, actually, that I can do this, and let's say I can create more and more. I can push myself more and more, actually, not to be a jewelry designer, but at least to have a line of jewelry when it is about my designs, because these designs, you can sit on it or you can simply wear it, as simple as it is. So that's how the idea actually came. But the only thing, actually, and then I had one collection in collaboration with H Jewelries, which is one of the local jewelers over here, and where I did the sadu, and I did like the Islamic coins as well, and it was really beautiful type of collection, where we have launched it, actually, on February 2020 at the Doha exhibition. Yeah, the the jewelry Doha exhibition. Yeah, I forgot the full name. Sorry.
That's okay. That's
Yeah,
okay.
but it was a beautiful collection. So using the materials is, of course, see, I'm living in a society where they do appreciate actually the luxury materials. Okay, and that will give you like further motivation actually to start using such luxury materials as well. Even when I'm using wood, I go actually for the finest types of wood. I don't go like for simple type of wood, for example. The first two collection, for example, in Tafasil 1 and 2, I used the frake, which is an African type of wood. And it's an expensive type of wood. Then in Tafasil, even now Tafasil number 2, I used different materials of wood. Like in Tafasil number 3, I used the rosewood, which is one of the fanciest types of wood as well. So yeah, I do love to be using like luxury materials in order to show it actually for my audience. But plus this is coming actually that I'm living in a society that appreciating this type of materials as well.
It's nice to be able to work with nice things, I think. And it sounds like you choose your materials based on what you're drawn to, not literally to please somebody else.
Yes, that's true. True.
And I have a question. You did many group exhibitions, and what are the benefits of these kinds of exhibitions for you, to be in a group exhibition?
Group exhibitions actually will give you more exposure, let's say. It will give you like different slices of the society, different slices of the audience coming actually to the exhibitions. It doesn't matter actually what's your fellow artist is showing. He can be like, for example, a surrealist. He can be, for example, an impressionist, and I fall into the applied arts as well. So the diversity will give you more exposure actually to the society itself. This is one of the benefits actually of group exhibitions. Plus, it will give you actually the chance to discuss more about your art with other artists. It's very good actually for an artist to have let's say the criticism actually of a fellow artist, as well as different types of audiences as well. You know, this is the benefit actually of being like in a group show.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that you create your community, that you have a community, you have a network of peers as well as professionals.
That's true.
That's what I always tell artists when I'm working with them: start growing your network now, because a lot of times you'll have experiences, or they will have experiences, and you can ask them questions if you're going into a similar experience.
That's
or if you need to be introduced to somebody, you know, your peers can help you do that. And
maybe you will see, for example, a type of material that the other artist is using, that you'll be like curious to know more about it, and so you can discuss it as well. Maybe you need like maybe someone actually will see what type of materials that you're using for as well, and this will create like more like, let's say more collaborations and more communications with the art scene as well.
Yeah, I think it's really important. It creates a community, and that's how art thrives, is in community. I think we were talking about this the other day.
Usually you cannot see, you can be known in the art scene through your solo exhibitions, but not like when you are in group shows.
Yeah. And it also, it provides the opportunity for artworks to kind of communicate with each other, I think, too, and create an atmosphere which can be more varied than a solo show. I have another question. You present at Blue Ribbon Design not only your designs, but other artists' work. How do you choose the pieces you present at your showrooms?
Let's say it depends. It depends actually on my. It depends on my partner as well. You know,
it's a group decision, basically.
Yeah, because we need to discuss it sometimes. For example, yes, we do present other artists' works in our through our work and in our business as well. But and I do consider Blue Ribbon not only like a company that we do fit out works and furniture design and these stuff. I want it actually to be more into like a social community where even other artists can show it through our work. I love when another artist would come to me and say, like, I have an idea to create a piece of furniture, for example, reflected by one piece of my art or through my art, even if he's a painter, even if he's like a sculptor, you know. this will give us more challenges actually, and to show people that we can fit into any type of diverse work when we are working. So yeah, I don't have like a guidelines to choose what I need to put over here or what I need to put over here. But usually whatever I have it available, for example, okay, I would present it directly actually for the people. And I will change it like with time and these stuff.
With your artistic practice, going back to your artistic practice, how long do you normally spend developing an idea on the average?
Okay, it depends. Each project it will take its own time. You know, like for example, let's say a piece of furniture might take with me like 1 to 2 weeks. Okay, but then I would change it again, for example, or I would change some details on it. So there's no time unless I'm put in the corner and I had like 1 or 2 days that I need to create something, for example. But usually I don't have this type of pressure when I'm working with my art. Like with the coin collection, no, it took with me more than this. It took with me.
It took you a couple of years, didn't you? Or
yes, I've been working on it since last year, and in 2019 I started working with it. And for the design process itself, it took with me like around 6 to 7 months. Yeah, because it's not easy. It's very critical. You need to know exactly how to do it, what you're going to present for the audience. Plus, it's a bit sensitive because we're talking about like the ruling family and all of this. So you need to think about every single detail of the piece itself. Even when I'm presenting one of the pieces of furniture, for example, talking about like an architectural let's say building or architectural element or calligraphy, you need to study it very well proportionally. It will take time, of course, with me. I cannot create it in one day and say, oh, okay, I created this one in one day. No, it will never take one day with me. It will never take 1 day.
I don't think anybody.
The idea can be done in one day within my mind. When it is about production and you need to start designing it and these stuff, no, it will take time with you. It will take like a period of time. Yeah, so.
I mean, because you make prototypes and see how things work out too. And I also think it's very important with artists that they take time to kind of digest their work, you know, to make the work and live with it and see if they love it as much in a, you know, and really let it develop over time. I think that's super important.
That's true.
Then I was also going to ask you, what would you say is your biggest frustration when you're making work? What's your biggest challenge when you're making work?
Okay, I do have lots of challenges. First, the quality of the production. Maybe I'm not gonna be satisfied with it, and it's always happening with me. It's always happening with me. I don't like the quality. I don't like, let's say, for example, the finish, how it is looking. I would change the color, or I would change the type of the wood, or I would change, for example, the silver is not shiny enough, or the gold, for example, is not good enough, or the bronze is, I don't know, fading. You know, all of these are challenges. And one of the biggest challenges, actually, in any in any artist's life is the financial side of it.
Yeah.
Especially when you're working with luxury materials. You need funding for that, because you got to be rich to be crazy. Artists can go crazy, but they have to be rich as well. You know, you cannot do this. So these are one of the challenges. And other challenges, for example, like let's say, for example, like the daily type of time. Time is one of the challenges as well. We always forget about time, but time is the one actually who's sliding away from us without us feeling it as well. So yeah,
it goes back to that balance, that, you know, that life work balance, where you have the work that you do to pay your bills and make the money so that you can make your own private work. For you, what signifies success to you in your artistic practice beyond monetary gain? So not just getting money. What to you it really signifies success for you when you're making work?
when my art collector or end user is so happy with the piece, when he's so proud of it, and this is one of the moments that I always admire. See, success, it cannot be translated with money. It cannot be translated actually with the status in society. Um, Self-satisfaction is the success,
Yeah.
as simple as it is. But not I'm not fully satisfied with myself, but I do have that moment when I'm satisfied with my piece of art. You know, where would I would defend it till the end. It's like your baby, you know.
Yeah.
And even when you see it with even if you see it like in another type of in another way, uh, uh, you will always feeling like it's piece of you, it's piece of your soul, which is
Yeah.
being that's the satisfaction of success. But
Yeah.
as I told you, success cannot be translated into materialistic things. It's a
Right.
feeling. It's a feeling that you will have it for a moment, and you
It's
would
why we do it. I mean, it's the
yeah,
passion that drives
yes,
you,
yes,
you
and you
know?
will always have it every time. Actually, you will think about that piece, or you will think about that piece of art, or you would see it. You will feel about that. Let's say the pride itself or the success moment. Yeah.
We have another question. I'm going to add on to it though as well. That they're asking, you've been represented by multiple art galleries in Doha, such as Al Markhiya. How was your experience? And I'm wondering myself, do you feel like it's a collaborative relationship with your galleries, or is it more like, do you feel that there's a collaboration there? And what's your overall experience is the question that's being asked.
Uh, yeah. To be honest, like it's something it's something beautiful actually to be represented by galleries like Al Markhiya, for example. It's one of the first art galleries that opened in Doha, and we do have limited quantities of art galleries in Doha. I'm always feeling, let's say, proud and pleasure to be represented by a gallery like Al Markhiya, especially that I know them long time ago, and it's more personal than being, let's say, for it's like a family more than being like an art gallery coming from outside. And this is what usually artists feel when art galleries. It's very important actually for artists to feel like the gallery is like their second home, instead of only being a place where they are going to sell their piece of art and that's it. No, there should be like an ethical type of relationship between the artist and the gallery, and where they would accept the differences, to discuss it and to make it better for the audience as well. Because after all, artists are willing to sell their art, and the gallery actually is important actually to sell their art through, and it's representing that. It's like a small representation actually of the artist itself.
I mean, I
So
always think that galleries are kind of they should be sort of both a promoter and a protector of the artist. They should be able to allow
they
the
are
artist to
after all.
work.
Yeah, they are after all.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm always discussing this one, that when an art gallery is representing an artist or the work of the artist, that means the gallery is representing the artist himself. No one can say, I cannot put my artwork in one gallery and then the gallery would say, no, we're like, whatever the art, whatever the message of this art is, this is like only the artist's responsibility. No, we cannot
oh
do
yeah,
this.
no.
We cannot do
I
this
mean, I
because
think at the end of the
because
day, the
once
curator.
it's inside the art gallery, or once it's part of the art gallery itself, so it's the representation of the gallery and the artist both together.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, at the end of the day, I think the responsibility lies with the curator and the gallery. When they
Yes, of
present
course.
something, we have to,
Of
we
course.
have to feel confident about the work, and we have to
Of course.
stand behind it.
And being represented by an art gallery gives you like a safe feeling, you know. It will give you like a safe feeling that you are on the right side, for example, or something like this. So yeah, but as I told you, like I haven't shown anything outside Doha. I did have art collectors from outside, and I send my art pieces actually into outside Doha and these stuff. But but I feel safe when it is about, let's say, for example, a markhiya gallery. It's one of my favorite art galleries in Doha. Al Hosh Gallery as well. I had a very beautiful collaboration with them, and this year and last year, 2019. And still, these people are eager actually to represent me in a beautiful way. So yeah.
I feel like the art community in Doha is growing. And so I'm just wondering, what do you feel the community needs to continue, like right now, to continue this development in a positive way as an artist in this art community?
Okay, we need to see more collaborations. We need to see more motivation from let's say official institutions and from the art galleries or personnel as well. Uh, we I wish we had, like, let's say art critiques and the art scene in Doha as well, because this will give you a lot of let's say of better guidelines when it is about representing the art, or and
Well, it
how
also
to.
creates discussion and sometimes
That's
debate,
true.
and that's
That's
really
that's true.
healthy.
That's true. Exactly. Debates are always healthy, actually, when it is done in a proper way as well. And
Exactly.
and the art scene, everything is being accepted. Everything is being accepted, but still, for example, it's very good, actually, especially for young artists, to know that the art critics can give them actually, like, better guidelines, how to start and where to go as well, instead of because when you start with the art, up till now, for example, for me, I'm gonna talk about my personal experience over here. Um, I do know that I have a style through my art, but I'm still discovering more and more. I'm still not satisfied with it. So
Mm-hmm.
it will help, for example, a lot when you do have someone telling me, like, oh, like, I like this thing with you. So just continue with it, because this represents you more. But he's not saying this out of nothing. He's
Yeah.
saying that actually out of an experience, because he's someone actually who have seen more and more, like more than you as well. So yeah.
I think that's really important. There's a question, will you participate at one of the art residencies in Doha?
Yeah, I would. Why not? I would,
Okay.
actually.
And you were talking about some of the new projects that you're working on. Is there something you'd like to share with people that a new project that you're working on right now?
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna be part of the group exhibition with Al Markhiya Gallery, called 18 at the fire station. And there is another exhibition, actually, that I'm working on it with a group of artists as well, where we are promoting a local factory over here, using one
Mm-hmm.
of their materials, using a chemical material to create art. And this is something that's going to be really interesting, actually, to see how different artists with different backgrounds are going to use one material and to create artworks out of it. So this exhibition hopefully is going to be on the 10th of December 2020. And let's see what 2021 is keeping for us. I hope all good.
Exactly.
I hope all good.
Exactly. And then I just want to say that yes, we have two shows opening next week. One is 18, which is going to open in
Yeah,
the fire station
that's
on,
it.
and then also we have Process 2 opening in Katara on the
I'm very
30th,
excited, actually, for a
Monday.
process too. I want to see what the other artist has done, especially that I was uh, I was part of the first one, just like
Yeah.
50-50. I was part also of the first exhibition, now process as well. So I'm really excited, actually, what these artists are going to represent. I was really happy meeting Bajo and Abdulaziz Youssef. I love their
Yeah.
experiences as well. I love their processes.
There was
And
some great installations in that show. I only saw
yeah,
pictures, but there was some great
yeah,
installation work there.
that's true. That's
Um,
true.
what is inspiring you right now? Are you reading something or listening to something, that's not your work that's giving you inspiration?
Okay. Let's say, for example, no, actually, what I'm doing these days, actually, I'm visiting old houses,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, uh, like 3 days before, I visited one archaeological site, but I hadn't seen it before. I saw it by photos, but I didn't see it actually in reality. And I'm planning for another one next week. So yeah. Plus, I'm busy working on that exhibition, the one that I told you about as well. And yeah, um, I always read books when it is about architecture, but I always prefer actually to visit sites because it's always giving me like a different angle of inspiration and motivation, you know.
But there's
Uh,
that whole thing of walking into an atmosphere. I think we were
yes,
talking
of
about that
course,
last
of course,
night.
of
There's the
course.
whole feng shui of
I-
the
wherever I go, especially when it is about archaeological sites, I always list. I wish I have this archaeological site like for me. I could turn it into an open art gallery where it's full with artists, full with, you know. So I'm always having this feeling, like I'm always having like I feel like this is mine. I want to do something actually with it, you know. I want to fill it with pieces of art for different. See, uh, I do collect art as well because I love this. I love actually when you do have like different pieces of different artists, and I cannot deny it. Like I when I see a piece of art for another artist, I feel I admire it. I love it, and I always think like this will look amazing in this area, for example, or in this project, or in this you know place. So. I love this. I love this type of collaboration with other artists. I love to see like my pieces being blended with another pieces in one place. I'm not a person actually who would say like no, I want this the place only for me or no, I'm not because see when I do go to museums or when I do go actually for archaeological sites or historical sites, you will go over there and you will not see like one idea, or you will not see only like one type of object. You will see different objects created by different designers or different artists, you know, or different architects as well. So this type of collaboration will create harmony that that yeah that's created unintentionally and spontaneously. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to continue to grow in your practice by connecting with other people, by reading books,
Yes.
by having experiences, and learning more about your practice, you know, learning more about materials, learning more about, you know, and you can learn that from other artists. You can learn it through workshops. And I think all of that's really important to be a very strong artist. I know that Paul Klee always had one quote that he would say where, you know, you have to study the foundation of your artwork till you don't have to think about it anymore, and then you can go to the stars. But if you try to do that before you have that foundation, before it's second nature, that's your house is built on a weak foundation and it falls. So if you
That's
try
why
to do
that,
something,
yeah, that's why, Peggy, when we were discussing it before, actually, I said it's all about the research. Research. Then it comes actually the art of practice itself, like the process of the design and create and translating the idea into paper. And from there, actually, you can produce your final artwork. There is nothing that can be created without research. There's nothing that can be created actually without the essence of the idea or the foundation of the idea itself. No ideas can be created from nothing. You got my point? We're
yeah,
not just
absolutely.
we're just not we even for example when someone is painting when he's painting something, for example, there's an idea behind it, but there's a research as well behind it. And this research, it can be simply summarized by reading a book or doing it online or visiting a place, or you know, that's the
Yeah.
essence of the idea itself.
But I
So
also think it's about understanding your materials and knowing what the materials can do, you know, and not
course,
just, you know, it's oftentimes we see people, you know, view a successful work and then maybe they try to copy it a little too much into their practice as opposed to trying to let their own voice shine through.
I know.
And
That's
that's
for sure.
something that I think we both feel strongly about, that,
We're living in a period actually where you will find copies everywhere.
of
But
course.
after all, it depends actually if you uh, let's say appreciate quality or appreciate quantity. That's the point.
Yeah. And
I,
it's all
I,
about
I,
appropriation
I'm
too.
working
Like,
in interior. I'm working in interior design. I'm always seeing this actually. For example, in our business, we only use materials actually when like original materials. Let's say, for
Mhm.
example, I do use the fabrics from Itro Ardumento, and I found copies from Itro. But when you touch the material, it's totally different.
Right.
It's really different. That's the point. You got my point. That's the point. So copy is not the answer. No, you
No,
can't really.
I think it's really, I think it's, you get more satisfaction out of the journey if you take the journey yourself, if you go
That's
and
true.
discover the
That's true. 100%.
materials.
That's 100%.
And also see what other people are doing, so you're aware of your history. I mean, like if, like I know a lot of photographers who pick up a camera and they're like, I'm a photographer, but they haven't really looked at the form, the artwork, you know, the art part of that, and looked at
Yeah,
what has come before and learned from those people.
that's
Instead, they
true.
keep remaking the wheel over and over again. And
Yeah,
that's
that's
something that I think is really important when you're an aspiring artist. Do you have any advice for someone who's starting out in the field?
take it easy, research a lot. If you have an idea, just start working on it, so you can see, so you can learn from your own mistakes, so you can learn from your own, let's say, ups and downs. Try to discover more materials, but as I said, take it easy, research, 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 as simple as it is.
I think too, it's really important not to be afraid to make mistakes, and that the studio should be a
Well,
safe place to do that.
mistakes are the ones actually who will lead you to a successful product.
Because I think they take you to the edge of an idea, and from that you can learn what's on the other side and learn something new and create something new. And to give yourself permission to do that as an artist, I think is vital.
Yes, that's true, 100%.
So now we're almost at the half-hour mark, and I don't see any more questions. So if there are no more questions, I think we're going to close this. I'd really like to thank you, Bachir, for your
Thank you,
time
Peggy.
and your
Thank you so much.
expertise,
Thank you so
and
much.
for going on this initial journey with me to webinar
Yeah,
land. So
it
I
was
really
it was
appreciate
it
that.
was fun, to be honest. It
Yeah,
was
and if
fun.
anybody has questions going forward, you can drop us an email and I'll be happy to get that off to Bachir. I think some of you know him personally though, so maybe you can just ask him directly.
Yeah.
But I want to wish everyone a really lovely evening. Please stay safe out there. Take care of yourself. And thank you again, Bachir, and have a good night, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.